Welcome to Real Paranormal Activity, the network. Entertainment you'll enjoy.
You are listening to an RPA production, where people gather. Ladies and gentlemen, RPA is proud to present Aaron's Horror Show with Aaron Frale.
Hi, this is Steve Silver with Silver Screen Videos, and you're listening to Aaron's Horror Show with Aaron Frale.
You are listening to Aaron's Horror Show, and I'm your host, Aaron Frale. We get to read fiction on the show and talk about some movies, books, you name it. If you like what I do here, please consider supporting the show at patreon.com/Aaron Frale. You'll get some books and other cool stuff for your support. Go ahead and also reach out to me at aaronshorrorshow@gmail.com, Aaron Horror Show on Twitter, or Aaron's Horror Show on Facebook. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy.
Welcome to Aaron's Horror Show, and I'm your host, Aaron Frale. I'm back. Been a while since I've recorded any podcasts. I realize that you guys have probably been patiently waiting for more of Sarge's Secret. I apologize for being away, I think 2 months now, since my last show. Just been busy. That's really more what it is. It's been a interesting semester. I've been, I guess, promoted to a position of more responsibility at work, and then, I'm also doing my writing, of course, writing more stuff, and just a lot of busyness in my life. So yeah, that's why I haven't had time to sit down and record. But man, I was just like, okay, this weekend I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get it done. And so here I am recording. So Sarge's Secret, I'm gonna go ahead and catch you up on it. It is basically Sarge gets this is back in the Touristic U Wars, of course. This is before all the stuff with Cal takes place. And back in the Touristic U Wars, Sarge's ship gets shot down, and Maciarnak, before he's an evil captain, he is a pilot that is, happens to be piloting Sarge's ship. And now they're in some of the most wild, dangerous territory, and there's this weird creature stalking their dreams, and, they could see it when they're sleeping, but not when they're awake. So, and basically Sarge and the rest of the troops are going out to where one of their people walked off while wrapping his own entrails around his neck. So I don't think he's going to survive. So I'll just go ahead and start. Maciarnak watched his friend trek out into the woods. Tara began taking down the tent and shoving it to be broken down into atoms in her unit's subatomic printer. Tomahawk was collecting the perimeter sensors, which left the pilot with nothing to do other than go through Wellesley's things that were tossed to the side by Tara. He was about to bundle them up for Sarge when Tara glared at him as she fed a pole into the trap in her thigh. He backed away and pulled out a pad instead. It was an excellent time to read up on the area, considering he hadn't gotten much reading done last night because his late tent mate talked too much. Maciarnak appreciated that Sarge didn't say more than what was necessary and never felt the need for idle chit-chat. His bunkmate could have been a player in his world had the man grown up with means. Instead, his talents would be wasted ascending the IF ranks instead of ruling the galaxy. Not that Maciarnak had any world-building tendencies like his father. He rather liked the simplicity of the military. Do a good job and one day make captain. Still, Cassie had left him with a puzzle, one that was almost too intriguing to dismiss, especially now that he was given a chance to explore Negromoto. He was one of the few people who knew the true nature of the planet. In fact, he would bet that even a git like Major Dodry didn't realize that they were fighting over a defunct alien megastructure. The place was so old that the local flora and fauna evolved and speciated from whatever lived here from before. In fact, the natural sentients could have developed from the original inhabitants' house cats for all he knew. He recalled an ancient Earth television show about a feline speciating. It was either called White Dwarf or Red Giant, something to do with stars. He didn't know or care because he had better things to do than spend time becoming a pop culture literate. Despite being one of the few people with knowledge of the truth, he hadn't done anything with the information. If the IF leadership didn't talk about it, the dark web had nothing about it. Even the crackpot conspirators had not come close to guessing the true nature of the planet. He felt guilty for not pursuing the truth earlier, almost as if he sullied the memory of Cassie. If things had gone differently, and they had managed to escape the long arm of his father, he might have been on a mad quest with her to find out what was going on here. Now that fate had given them time and the reason to explore, he felt that's why he survived the crash. He was here to finish Cassie's mission and find out the truth. However, the truth was hidden deep. Negromoto was twice the circumference of Earth, which meant the black hole in the center had to be a specific size, or else it would have swallowed the planet long ago. It also had to be more a wormhole than the variety that would crush a person into infinitely small pieces. The Decrand emerged unscathed from the video he saw. However, where it went, how it got there, and just about any knowledge that would be helpful for him right about now wasn't coming up on his pad. At most, he figured that they were the hinterland far from tech. The native tribes still lived the old ways out here, out where the planet's apex predators lived, which was scary for even the technologically advanced civilization. Of the few expeditions that went into the region, most never returned. A few came back with scant information, which meant they didn't go deep enough. One was later to have found to falsify all their data to gain the prestige as one of the first Earthlings to discover the land. Earth folks always claimed to be great explorers, even if their sentience were there to begin with. Negromoto wasn't the first time humans would pat themselves on the back for discovering what was there all along. Maciarnik wasn't doing it to make his mark in history. If there was one thing useful his father had taught him, it was better to work in the shadows than light the day. He wanted to find out then and tell the people about it. At least that's what he thought Cassie would have done. Her deep distrust of authority and the regimes in power would have compelled her to tell the galaxy, especially now that they were in the galactic war for it. At least the poor fools like Wells would know what they would be dying for. When his research was coming up with nothing, Tara and Tomahawk were finished packing the camp. They were about to radio Sarge when he appeared in the clearing with Crusher. "You'll time it to that peak, Tommy. You're on point, but stay close," Sarge said. "Yes, sir," Tomahawk said and darted off into the woods. The others took a few moments to secure their gear. Sarge gathered Wellesley's weapons and shoved them into Maciarnik's hands. He was about to toss the rest of the belongings in the woods when Maciarnik halted him and retrieved the coffee bean and said, "No sense in it going to waste." IF protocol was clear. A soldier could retrieve the deceased family's personal effects unless the threat level was high. Even the memory captures were optional. Since the threat level seemed to be high, coffee beans were to be left behind, and Maciarnik never wanted something of beauty to go to waste. Sarge didn't seem to need an upload to know what killed the guy. Maciarnik knew the man well enough to recognize that something had scared his former bunkmate. Perhaps there was a person Maciarnik could confide in about the true nature of the planet, but that would have to wait. As soon as they were ready, what was left of the squad took off at a run. While the others could sprint past him with their armor, they kept slow enough pace for him to keep up, although it was a bit grueling for a person on foot. While they ran, Maciarnik slowly made to the back of the line, with Crusher and Tara. He turned to Crusher, between breaths asked, "What happened to him?" Crusher, who was barely breaking a sweat with her armor, doing the hard work for her, hung himself by his own entrails. "How is that even possible?" "Don't know." Crusher trailed off. Tara brandished the gun. "Just point me the right way." He disengaged from the conversation and continued to run. The grunts oversimplified the situation, which to him was dangerous. If a person could be pragmatic, they'd not only see the immediate threat for what it was, but the danger well into the future. Something told Maciarnik it wasn't a point-and-shoot situation here, which meant that he was close to discovering Cassie's truth. They had to change course a few times after Tommy radioed back with possible predator activity. Another time they had to stay perfectly still when a flock of pterodactyl gulls that looked as they sounded passed overhead. Pterodactyl gull was obviously the human name for it. He couldn't remember the native one. Despite the setbacks, they made it to the peak in a half a day. All right. That is some more Sarge's secret for you. Come back next time and we'll go ahead and have some more Sarge's secret, and watch out for pterodactyl gulls. Of course, I don't know. I make mistakes while I'm doing this, and so I did pterodactyl gull, not pterodactyl, which I thought was funny. Maybe that will be in the outtakes one day. All right. Have a good night.